So, like, we were watching all the Marvel things, and Stormy was just, like, chilling on the couch. I mean, she wasn't actually watching it. We were watching it, and she was just loving cuddle time.
Yeah, because she's a whore.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't put Stormy on here. We can put Stormy on here. Stormy!
Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like.
Welcome to Drunk Bitches Be Like. I'm Brandi.
I'm Mindy.
And this is all about two women, a few beers, some tipsy stories, and some drunk ideas.
Welcome.
Black Widow came out, and then Loki. Technically, the series finale was on Wednesday, but we haven't had time to watch it yet, so I haven't seen the finale.
I don't understand what Loki's about. I mean, I know who he is. I saw the movie Thor.
Yeah.
This is the only movie in the Marvel universe that I have watched.
He's a complex character, but he's fun.
And now he's confirmed out.
Wait, out?
That they confirmed that his character is definitely gay.
Oh, okay, yes and no. That's where it gets funny with the whole episode series.
So like the multiverse.
There are many Lokis. There are male versions, female versions, alligator versions, frog versions. So, like,
what is this on?
Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
I even thought about watching WandaVision when it first came out because I was like, that looks intriguing. And then they're like, Disney Plus. Anything that says Apple TV or Disney Plus, I'm like, I'm not doing it.
So I'm a big Disney fan, and I signed up for the Disney fan club thing. Mm-hmm. And because of that, before they released Disney Plus, they did a thing with the fan club, and the fan club's free to join, whatever. So it wasn't like you had to pay subscription, whatever, to be in it. But so the very first year they were going to release Disney Plus on their fan club, they were like, hey, we're going to run a special. And if you sign up for Disney Plus before we release it, you can buy up front instead of doing the monthly thing. It's going to be $6.99 a month. So it's it ends up being what, $70?
No, bad math.
Bad math. That was bad math. 70, 80,
94?
No.
So 70 times 7 times 10 is 70.
And then
7 times 2 is 14.
So 94.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go. So it was $94 a year, basically.
I didn't know math was going to figure so heavily into our lives.
Seriously, math is awful. Oh, darts. We got to talk about darts.
Yeah.
So it was going to be $94 a year for Disney Plus if you did the monthly fee thing. So Disney Plus came out I want to say it was 2 or 3 months before they released Disney Plus, and it was a 2-week period or some stupid little thing that it was they sent out an email to all their D23 fans or whatever, and we're like, hey, if you want to sign up for Disney Plus, we'll give you 3 years if you pay up front. And it was, I want to say $140.
Yeah.
So you were only paying for 20 months?
Oh, that's cool.
So you paid for 20 months and you got 3 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, I know Disney princess movies are very problematic in very many ways, but I grew up and Cinderella was my favorite thing in the entire world. And so I was like, I love Disney and it's also Pixar and fuck it, I'm in. So I just paid $140 and was like, I've got it for 3 years. And then they added the whole Marvel collection into it. And I'm a huge Marvel person. So that I was like, this is the most amazing thing I ever spent money on. So now I have all of the things in Disney.
We may have to look at it. We're so far behind on everything. And Marvel is one of those things that, if you miss 3 movies, you can catch up. But once you get to Endgame and you still haven't seen anything, it's a task. It's like me taking him backwards to watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
He's seen all of 12 and 13. And 9, because that was only one season.
Yeah.
But every time I make a reference to 10 or 11, he's like, I don't. Every time I mention the Weeping Angels, he knows the concept of the Weeping Angels, but he doesn't know.
The Weeping Angels are of all of the villains in Doctor Who, the Weeping Angels are by far the thing I fear the most.
For me, it's the silence is right up there for me.
Oh, yeah.
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 Because when I do the Doctor Who sleeve, because it's a commitment, I'm just going to make it because it made that much of an impact on my life. And my mother will not enjoy any of it. She will for the artsy part. She just, I mean, I'm almost 50 years old and I'm painting a whole arm. It's going to look weird, but at least, it doesn't have 10 years of wear on it. Mm-hmm. It'll be closer to it'll only be 30 years old when I die.
Yeah. So you're good.
Fine.
It's fine.
But when I was thinking about doing it, there were all of these little things that I wanted to make sure that were incorporated. So like the hashtag, when they're counting how many times they've seen, every time they see the silence, they mark their arm before they forget.
Yeah.
I like that. Then I don't know what you call those, like the, 1, 2, 3, 4 slash.
Yeah. That's how you count. That's counting.
I just don't know what they're called, like markers or whatever. So I wanted the markers. I want like a little bow tie. I want like little 3D glasses and Converse.
Nice.
I want Geronimo written in someplace. I want Alonzi written in someplace.
Alonzi.
I want a weeping angel, like the one with her face covered and the one where she's like, rah!
Yeah.
So yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put an ood on, although I do love an ood.
The oods are great. I just started, so I got HBO Max and I was going to cancel it after a month because I literally got it.
It's a freaking tunnel because everything is on there.
Everything's on there. Well, and the thing is like I got it for...
Rick and Morty's on there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got it for Justice League because I was curious. I'm not a huge DC fan. Like, I'm a big Marvel fan. I'm not a huge
Your
DC
version
fan.
of bi-curious is, I checked out DC.
I checked out DC. Yeah, that's literally that's a very good description of it. I'm like, I'm curious. I'm not going to like it, but I'm curious about it. I mean, I liked Aquaman. I'm not going to lie there. I did like Aquaman. But so I got it to watch Justice League. And then I was like, ooh, True Blood's on here. And I went back and started watching True Blood. And then I watched like the newer seasons of Doctor Who. And I let it lapse after a month.
Oh, True Blood's on there?
True Blood's on there. I went back and rewatched the entire
I started reading the
thing.
books.
Oh, it's so
because downloaded bootleg copies for me, so they're still on my Kindle. I just keep
Nice.
buying Kindles that have bigger storage.
I don't know what the books are like. All I will say is in the actual show, Sookie drives me up a fucking wall. I mean,
I don't care. I'm in it for. Can I tell you what I'm in it for?
Yes.
Lafayette.
Oh no, Lafayette's fabulous in the show.
So the thing is that the guy who plays Lafayette also was in the last couple of seasons of, not the last season, but like season 7 and 8 or something like that of Elementary.
I started watching Elementary when I had cable, and then
he unfortunately
He
committed suicide, I believe, or just died from alcohol related.
I knew he died very young.
Yeah. But here's the thing. He was one of those like celebrities that would like literally follow you on Twitter and like comment on your posts. And he spent a lot of time like reaching out.
Yeah.
Which then is sad because I'm like, oh, maybe like a lot of people just weren't reaching back, or it's just sad. But I enjoyed him, and I wanted to watch the show from the time where he was like, when you order a burger in here, you're going to get it with AIDS. And I was like, hell yes.
I will say, if there is any one reason to watch the show, it's watch it for Lafayette, because by far the entire run of the series, if there's any one character that is consistently just by far the scene stealer and the best part of everything that happens, it's Lafayette. So if he's your favorite character, by all means, please watch the series, because he makes every episode that he's in better.
I'll
just
have
by
to do
being
that.
there.
And I understand what you say about Sookie. So the things I knew about True Blood, Lafayette, and then doesn't she have like this back and forth between two? Like it's a very Twilighty.
It's a very Twilighty thing between a couple of different vampires. And here's the thing. Now, the first time I watched it, it always annoyed the crap out of me, because I'm like, she's so naive and she's so like just... And this is very
starry-eyed.
Yeah, starry-eyed, and this is very stereotypical to say, but like podunk Alabama, like just down home, like she thinks, bless your heart, she thinks everybody's just the sweetest thing ever. And it's like, I'm sorry, honey, you're like talking about vampires and like all this other shit, but they still make her character very much so like backwoods Alabama, like everything is like sweet home Alabama, everything's good, like people are sweet in the heart of them. And I'm like, they're vampires, they're literally dead people that drink your blood. Like, at some point, I need you to wake up and realize that shit. And she does eventually, like, way later in the series than she should, I feel like, as far as the TV show is concerned.
So she's like a horrible Buffy.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's like, how do you not understand that these people are not like...
Like, I feel like at least Buffy knew the realization of falling in love with, a vampire repeatedly.
Right. Yeah.
But, it sounds like Sookie doesn't really get it.
No, she doesn't. And I will say my favorite part of the series, which has nothing to do with the actual series... Alexander Skarsgård is one of the most fabulously, like, gorgeous human beings that have ever graced the planet.
The Skarsgård boys, they're a little odd looking.
I'm telling you what, though, he is just, it's magical.
So you don't watch this when the boyfriend's around?
No. Okay, so I have watched the series.
Brandy's kind of porn.
I've watched it a couple of times in my lifetime, and the first time I watched the series, I was dating somebody else, and he would literally walk through the living room and going, "Oh, are you watching your porn?" And then he would just keep on moving, and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I get you." And then the second one, okay, so the guy I'm with now, I was sitting in the living room watching it, and I'd be watching it random different times, whatever, and he would walk in, and sometimes he would catch clips of it or whatever, and then he'd leave and go do other things. And I want to say it was probably the 5th time he walked into the living room and sat down, and all of a sudden there was this massive sex scene where everybody's naked, and he goes, "Oh, I didn't know there was nudity in this show." And I was like,
I mean, it's not why I watch it, but
no.
It's not why I watch it.
Well, but also, anybody who's watched the series, there isn't a single episode where you don't see a fully naked human being at some point. So, I'm sitting there going, I'm looking at, oh, wait, I'm trying to think of all the times you've walked into the living room, and I'm like, oh, no, you've probably, okay, no, yeah, you haven't seen any. No, this is a very pornographic show. You have been lucky on the times you've walked in that you haven't seen any penises. But all the other times, there are completely naked human beings just running amok.
It's when I first started watching Game of Thrones, and I was like, how many flaccid penises am I going to be subjected to? It's one thing, and I'm like, yay for us for getting equality and having men naked on screen, but man, they are not cute.
I will say
they're not cute, and they're all together.
Yeah.
Unless something else is, piqued their interest, so
Game
to
of
speak.
Thrones was a whole different tone when they were naked. I will say in True Blood, you will never come across a flaccid penis. It's just not a thing you will come across. They're always having sex with somebody. And actually, I don't think I actually ever get to see a penis. There's a lot of butts. Lots of full naked with maybe something strategically placed in front of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but there's a lot of boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but lots of naked people always having sex.
I find it so hard to reconcile Anna Paquin because she was, a child. I think she won an Oscar when she was 8 or 9 or something for the piano. I think that's what it was.
Well, and I knew
now
her as Rogue in X-Men before this.
Oh, see, I don't.
Yeah.
X-Men. I feel like how are we friends? I also have never seen an X-Men movie unless you count Deadpool.
So, Deadpool I count in all realms of.
And I've only watched him. And what's his one scene where they
Ryan
when
Reynolds?
Does he actually get introduced? It's in one of the Wolverine movies where he enters the place first,
okay,
and annihilates everybody, and then is mouthy.
He doesn't. Oh, I was gonna say if it's an X-Men movie, then that's not the real Deadpool because that was the fake Deadpool where they sewed his mouth shut.
No, he came in as Wade Wilson. He wasn't actually Deadpool.
Okay,
he goes in, he pulls out the swords, he's doing all the stuff, deflecting bullets, killing people, gets all the way to the end.
And then they sew his mouth shut and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
We disregard that Deadpool.
Okay.
That's not canon. That's
But he was funny because I think as soon as he's done, he's got some smart ass comment about now you all may enter or something like that.
See, now if you liked that Deadpool, we need to you can watch the Deadpool movies because they were technically Fox owned, not Marvel owned, so they're not tied into anything else. And there's only 2 of them so far.
Well, no, I've watched all of the Deadpool movies because I have
He's funny as shit.
I have a Ryan Reynolds fetish that just does not stop.
Okay, well, he just put out a trailer. You got to go watch it with Korg.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was his introduction to the MCU.
Yeah, whatever it was. And he's like, how do you get into the MCU? And he's like, you do all the wrong things.
It was like, and then you just trash those streams and just disregard everything.
I liked the fourth wall breaking in Deadpool where he like shows up at the mansion and it's clearly the X-Men mansion.
Yeah.
The exterior. And then he was like, how come every time I'm here, there's nothing behind you and nobody's home?
Because we can't afford that.
And then when they have him tooling around through the thing. Yeah. Anyway, if you haven't seen the Deadpool movies, you must. Just don't watch them with your parents.
No, don't. Absolutely
David brought the DVD with us to Arizona and forgot about all of the beginning. So we're sitting there while Deadpool's getting pegged by his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And all the sex that was happening. And I'm like, this is completely comfortable.
Oh.
I've met these people 3 times.
No, I would have been way more comfortable with that than, all right, this is a throwback. I want to say it was like 2012, maybe? When did Love Actually come out? Have you ever seen Love Actually?
Oh, I love Love Actually.
Love it too.
So it's one of those things that I get into arguments with people about when they're like, what's your favorite Christmas movie? And I'm like, well, I would say Die Hard, but let's say Love Actually. And they're like, neither of those are Christmas movies.
No, Love Actually is a Christmas movie. It is a countdown to Christmas. Right. So fuck you.
Yeah.
No.
And I find it charming. Do you know? Well, because he's an asshole, so I'm sure you can guess.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant did not want to do the dancing scene.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
It's the most charming fucking part of the whole movie.
It's fabulous. It makes a lot of the scenes. Here's my problem. Love Actually, great Christmas movie. I absolutely have to watch it every year during the holiday season. It's like one of my must-see movies during the holiday season.
Right.
Went to go see that the very first time in the theater when it came out with my entire family on my dad's side. So I'm talking like I had 2 aunts on either side of me, cousins, whatever else. And the thing is, most of the movie is fine, but there is
actually
one couple.
The TBS cut. What's sad about the movie is if you take that couple out, you lose nothing about the plot of the movie.
Oh no, you don't lose anything. But, and I love that couple though, they're fabulous. But also, I went to see it in the theater, so they were in it. And if you don't know which couple we're talking about, you gotta go see it.
You're like, why is that Hobbit fake fucking her?
Yeah, there is a couple that are
Hobbit, right?
stand-ins. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, they're stand-ins on. Well, they're stand-ins on a porn movie. Well, I don't even know if it's a porn movie or if it's a regular movie that's just a sex scene.
Right.
But they're the body doubles that are standing in, and that's how they meet because they have to be naked and pretend they're having sex. And so I'm sitting in this theater with an aunt on either side of me, and like all of a sudden these guys come on camera and they're like fake fucking, and I'm like,
boobs everywhere. She's got cute boobs though. Go see it for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's adorable what's happening if you aren't thinking about the fact that there's people having sex in front of you, because they're not actually having sex, they're faking it, and like that's the whole point of it. But still, it's
that movie
when you're with your family members, it's just an uncomfortable thing.
My parents took me and a boyfriend of mine. I was a sophomore, because he was a freshman. I wasn't robbing the cradle as much as I do now, and it sounds bad, but we actually were the same age. I started school a year early. And then he started school, like, depending on where your birthday's at. You start school at weird times. So we're the same age, but we're in different classes.
Right.
I was the youngest person in my class. He's like the oldest person in his class. So there we go. But they took us to see a movie called DOA. It's a Dennis Quaid movie with Ellen Barkin.
Okay.
No, not DOA. The Big Easy.
I feel like I've heard of that movie, but I've never seen it.
So he may or may not be like this cop on the take, and she's like a journalist or whatever. But at one point, there's only one sex scene in the whole movie. And the thing is that do you remember watching movies with your parents and you like very consciously knew that you were not supposed to know what was happening?
Yeah.
So, but in your head, you're like, oh my God, 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 oh my God. So we're watching this movie.
Right.
And he's kind of kissing on Ellen Barkin, and they're in her hotel room, and she's like kind of all breathy, and he's like kissing on her cheek, and then on her neck, and then on her bosom. And so he's progressing.
Right.
And she makes some comment. I forget what the comment is. And he says in that like great New Orleans accent, darling, why do you think they call it the Big Easy? And then he drops out of scene, but she still has like that whole ecstasy face thing going on.
Right.
I climbed over my parents and sat on the other side of them from my boyfriend. I was like, I cannot believe that I'm dying of embarrassment that you brought us to this. They didn't know either.
Right.
And I'm not sitting here holding hands with my boyfriend
While we're watching this.
With
With my
is
parents.
very uncomfortable. So I can imagine
Yeah.
just sitting there, and there was no nudity. It was just implied that he was going down on
Right,
her. And I was like, I'm not supposed to know what he's doing,
Right. But there's implied of what's happening.
but I'm just going to leave.
yeah. Yeah. No, there was straight up nudity in Love Actually. And I was just like, I'm just going to sit here and stare straight forward and not make eye contact with anybody. And like after we left the movie, it was like, oh, yeah, everybody liked that.
Oh,
Yeah, that
my
was a good
God.
movie. Okay, cool. We can go home now because I don't want to say anything else.
I grew up loving Prince. Actually, there was a one of my babysitters. Her name was Chris. She introduced me to like so much music because she kind of was she was the girl down the street. She's 6-7 years older than I was or whatever. Cause I think I was 10. She was like 16, 15 or 16 babysitting me. And like, she introduced me to Prince, and much to my parents' displeasure, introduced me to musicals.
Okay.
I only say displeasure because there's only so many times your parents can listen to the soundtrack of Camelot without wanting to choke you.
Yeah.
So the Prince thing, they were actually much better with than like me listening. I wonder what the king is up to tonight. What merriment is the king? They wanted to just kill that record. But the Prince thing, my parents were like full on board with. My grandparents being kind of the bigoted people that they were. She's like, let's just not talk about this in front of your grandma and grandpa. I had a poster of Prince in a shower with a belly chain on. He was like my sexual awakening as a young lady. A 5'4" tiny black man.
But he was a delightful human being.
Oh my God, he was gorgeous. And so I convinced my mom, I think I was 12. I was like, we should rent the movie. And my parents had, we've talked about this before. My parents lack judgment in what movies to let me see. So renting a rated R movie was not that big of a deal to them. How bad could it be? So we rented it, and my dad worked nights. So my mom and I are watching Purple Rain, and there's an entire montage of him and Apollonia having sex and like legs over his head
Oh,
and
God.
by her ears. And I was like, oh my God. Because again, I'm 12, not supposed to know what's happening on the screen.
Right.
But you get like a street education when you start school. So somebody knows what's happening, and somebody
Right.
told you what was happening. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, they're having sex. That was the worst thing that I could think of, is that they were having sex. So my mom was like just quiet about it, because she's one of those parents who was like, if you don't point it out,
Right.
let's not make anybody feel ashamed of it.
Right.
Let's just keep on going until it's not happening anymore. So yeah, we both sat in silence for 5 minutes while Prince and Apollonia had sex on screen.
Well, I mean, you're supposed to be in silence during movies anyway, but I feel like that's the most uncomfortable, awkward silence you've ever sat in your entire life.
Yeah, like, because we're both not going to acknowledge that it's happening.
Those 5 minutes did not exist in reality. They just disappeared as soon as they happened.
Nope, we are done. We're going back to wholesome movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember. Here's a Pixar movie about to come out that I really want to see, and my husband is not a huge fan of cartoons.
Oh, so I'm kind of hit or
And
miss
I
with
call it cartoons. He doesn't really necessarily like the animated movies, but we watch animated shows all the time.
I'm not a huge anime fan, but I do like Pixar movies and things like that. So like I'm like Monsters
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. just came out with a which is a Disney Plus thing, but they just came out with a new series they've started for Monsters Inc. and it's like a spin-off thing of it's Monsters University. Was their other movie, but it's like new monsters that just graduated from Monsters University that came into the fold,
Learning
like,
how to monster.
Well, yeah, because like they just graduated and learned how to like scare kids, and now all of a sudden they got there and they're like, oh no, we're not doing that anymore. Now you have to make them laugh, and it's like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? So they just made a new series, and I watched the first episode the other day, and I think it was like a half-hour thing or whatever. But so I like the animated stuff, and I really like the Pixar stuff. I think Pixar does a really great job with animation.
Oh, they do. I remember the first time seeing Monsters Inc. and looking at Sully's fur. and how it just, there were individual strands. And I saw how they did it. Like they did it on like 1 square centimeter or whatever.
Yeah.
The like little like motion. And then they just replicated it all around the exterior of him so that it would have that same movement. But yeah, they're fantastic. The Secret Life of they did The Secret Life of Pets, didn't they?
Secret Life of Pets, I think that's great. I mean, they did like The Incredibles.
Yeah, I drag him along. Like
it.
He'll go see anything. You know him. He'll do whatever I want. And I try not to take advantage of it.
Which is lovely, but also you don't want to make him like too much
suffer.
Yeah.
He and some children that were in the theater were incredibly amused by the fact that so during The Secret Life of Pets, this is not a spoiler alert because you should have fucking seen it by now. So you deserve what you get, or you get what you deserve. There's the scene where they're in the sewers and the snake pops out.
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of me. Did not scare the 9 and 10-year-old beside us. My husband laughed at me. The children laughed at me because we were the only people in there without children.
Nice.
And the kids in our row were just laughing their asses off because a grown-ass adult was like, got jump scared.
Well, I feel like besides just like so Pixar is great at animation and they're great at like everything they do visually is just fantastic, but like the stories they tell also I think have something to them that just it's an extra like little pop that they give to it. We went and saw, so I loved The Incredibles. Yeah. So when The Incredibles 2 came out, I was like, we got to go see it. We went to the theater and saw it.
Sorry, I have to ask because I'm not sure if I know that who's the little lady?
Oh, Hetty, whatever.
Is her name
is.
Hetty?
I think so.
She's Hetty on.
Oh, she's Hetty on NCIS. Yeah, L.A. It's the same lady.
Linda
she does
Hunt.
the voice. Yeah,
Linda Hunt.
She's fabulous.
Because I was positive, like that they modeled.
They did. They
Edna.
modeled Edna after her.
Yeah,
and it's delightful. And the scene that I'm about to talk about involves Edna because I was watching it and we went to the theater and saw Incredibles 2, and there was a point in the movie where I literally was laughing so hard I couldn't catch my breath. I started coughing. Like I was I was dying in my seat, and like he's sitting next to me going, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, I can't catch my breath because I was laughing so hard. And it was a very simple thing, and it was just about this dad who like mom went to work, dad had to take care of 3
baby
kids. The baby was changing shapes, doing different stuff, and he took it to Edna, and he's sitting there trying to explain to her and going, and and then the laundry turned pink, and as soon as he said the laundry turned pink, I lost my shit, and I couldn't recover.
You should not be washing your super suits with whites.
And I was like, I can relate to this because, like, who hasn't washed a load of laundry and everything's turned fucking pink? And he's just, like, tired as shit. And he's just going off about, like, all the things in his day that's gone wrong. And, like, the baby's turning into, like, 5 different like, superheroes at the same time. Jack. He's setting on fire. He's chasing cookies. He's disappearing into the ether. He's whatever else. The laundry turned pink. I can't do this. Like, Violet turned invisible and won't talk to me. And and he's just going through his day as a superhero, which I should not relate to because I'm not a superhero. But like some of the things he was saying, I was just like, oh yeah, I get that. And I don't even have kids, but I just started dying, and like I couldn't stop laughing for like 10 minutes in the theater, and I was like choking, and I'm like coughing and shit. And they're like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I just need some water. It's fine." I need to catch my breath because this shit's so relatable.
It's better than the alternative. I will say Pixar doesn't do a ton of adult references.
Yeah.
But they do some, but I never noticed them because I live in an innocent world. I went back and saw a video where they show like certain things that are in Pixar movies that you may have never noticed. So I think we've talked about Lion King. One of my favorite scenes is because if you think about it in an adult sexual way,
right,
when Nala is chasing Pumbaa. No. Yes, Pumbaa's the pig, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Pumbaa's
when
the pig.
Nala is chasing Pumbaa and he gets stuck, and Timon is trying to push him, and he's like, "Why do I always have to save your and then Simba jumps in and stops everything, and he was like, "Wait! You know her." and she knows you, and she wants to eat him, and everybody's just okay with it. It was like, I thought that was funny. I was like, it gave me a different connotation.
Yeah.
But the Pixar thing I saw in Lightning in Cars.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a scene where Lightning McQueen is meeting his like fans, and these young female cars flash their headlights at him, like they turn their headlights on. And it never dawned on me that they were flashing him.
Oh yeah, they're flashing him. And no kid is going to understand that, because they're going to be like, yeah, they're flashing their lights at him. And every adult's going to be like, yeah, they're like flashing their lights at him as you're pulling up
I
your
fucking
shirt.
missed it. I pew right over my head.
Yeah,
No, there are some things that I caught, and then there are some things I think people make up. Like,
Yeah.
clearly and she wants to eat him. Just it struck me as funny, but no, I mean, you know, not all of them do that. Some of them you make up in your head, but
Yeah.
no, the Pixar thing.
Pixar does well, I think.
They do really well. We went and saw, I took my nephew to see Coco about 4 months after my dad
I
died.
still haven't seen Coco, and I need to. I need to watch it.
Yeah, wait until your dad passes away and then see it, because it's the most horrible thing. So the premise of the movie is that unless you're remembering people, so there's the Day of the Dead, and people will, they have this little frame, and they put their past loved ones on it, and if you don't remember them in the afterlife, they eventually just fade away from existence.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yes. 4 months after your dad dies.
Oh my
It sure is.
God.
And it's about this guy who's about to fade away, and because his daughter isn't thinking of him anymore, because she thinks that something happened that didn't actually happen, and so he's slipping away from her memory, which
God.
means he's about to fade away. This will be his last thing. And
Yeah.
my nephew has told his mom, like, I think Aunt Mingo was upset. And I'm like, I traumatized my nephew.
Did you go home and like plaster pictures of your dad everywhere?
I know, I'm
'Cause I
like-
feel like that would be my response. I'm like, I need pictures on all of the walls.
Yeah, we need to put them all up. Oh God, it was horrible. But the movie was so good.
Yeah.
And it was a great representation of culture. And they, you know, sometimes all of our films tend to be very white.
Yeah.
So it was a nice representation of culture. I feel like it was one of those movies that people weren't like, oh, it's not for me because I'm not of Hispanic descent.
Yeah.
That everybody saw it. So it was kind of nice because I don't think everybody saw like Soul.
No, which I think is a fantastic movie. Although, all right.
I did hear though that like they had a lot of white actors voicing black characters.
They did.
Like his soul or something was voiced by a white actor.
Was it really?
Something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't hear. No, because his soul was voiced by Jimmy Fox.
Something related to that. It was a white actress that was.
Okay. Well, I know Tina Fey voiced the soul that he was trying to rehabilitate.
Was that a black character?
No,
Okay.
she was just this vagrant soul, whatever. But I will say I really enjoyed the movie Soul, but I also felt like Soul was not a movie for children, even though it's an animated film. Mm-hmm. The lessons and the like everything that's it's not one of those films where it's like, you know, children watch it and they get something out of it, and then adults watch it and like there's some extra shit in there for the adults to pick up. No, Soul is like a animated movie that like all of the lessons and things are there for adults, I feel like.
Oh, so it's just like an animated downer.
It is an animated downer is what it is. And I mean, it's a lovely film. It is beautifully created.
But you realize how much you're failing.
But yeah, it's basically like telling you to appreciate what you have in life, because like, you know, it's all about this guy who his entire life he was reaching for this thing that he never accomplished, and he died before he got it. But like he did all of these amazing things while he was alive that he never thought were accomplishments because it wasn't the thing that he wanted.
Right.
And so it was basically teaching you like, hey, even though this might not be the path you chose or wanted, you still accomplished a lot of things along the way and whatever else. And
So basically acknowledge your journey, not the journey that you wish you had had. But
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and it does it in kind of a humorous way, and it like it's very good. It's very well done, I think. But we went we've talked about the fact that I've been camping constantly,
Right.
whatever, with my family. So a couple weeks ago, we were camping at one of these.
You're camping on a weekend where I need you
Yeah.
for dog sitting, and I find that rude.
I'm so sorry.
You can take her with you.
I mean, we can take a dog.
No,
to the
you probably
campsite.
couldn't, because she's the reason I'm not taking her is because people are an issue for her.
Oh yeah, then we can't do that. But we went camping one weekend, and some of the campgrounds around here, like some of the state campgrounds, have amphitheaters or whatever that have screens, and they'll play a movie on Saturday night. So like families or whatever that have kids or whatever. And we were at a campground on Saturday night when we were there. They were like, "Oh, Soul will be on at 7 p.m." And I was like, "What?" And like we were in the car. And I was with my dad, and I forget who else was with us, but it was like, Soul, huh? Yeah. I mean, the adults will like that, and it's animated, so the kids might get behind it because it's animated, but really, I don't think the kids are actually going to enjoy anything about that movie.
There, one of the first movies that I saw that was animated that affected me, and actually, I was 7. I was a senior. All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, who let their fucking kids watch this? Because I was
terribly
scarred.
tragic.
I was scarred. The whole, because it starts out with Charlie going to hell in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a concept that you have to explain to kids.
Yep.
And I did not realize until my nieces came around that like there are some things that you think that they won't think about,
Yeah.
or you forget that they have no point of reference. I'll get into like Narnia in a minute. But we went, two of my girlfriends and I went and saw it. And like, not only is it terrifying in places, but I cried through most of the beginning because it starts out horrible.
Right.
And then it ends up horrible.
Yeah.
And then it finishes sad as fuck.
Oh,
and
yeah.
when he goes in and says goodbye to her, and I just cried throughout, silent tears, because you don't want to be sobbing in a movie theater.
Yeah.
But just silent tears. There's some little kid going, "What's happening?" And I'm like, yeah, your parents are bad parents. That's
Right.
what's happening.
It's terrible.
This is a horrible movie for kids. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe thing.
Yeah.
I took my niece to see that. My friend and I took her to see that. And spoiler for those of you that don't have children, little kids can't sit in a seat by themselves. Now they can, because they've got like the recliners that people can sit in. But we
Yeah.
went to like the folding chairs. And when the kid weighs 20 pounds, they can't like hold the seat down.
Yeah. And
so
they're
she-
just folded in half
yeah.
most of the time.
So she had to sit on my lap, and we're sitting there watching it. So it starts out with the Blitz in
Yeah.
England, which is when everybody, they were moving children and women out to the countryside
Right.
to avoid the Blitz happening on the big cities. And she's like, "Where are all their parents?" And I'm like, so quietly in a movie theater. So there was a war and things were happening in the city, and they had to like keep the kids safe. So they went to like stay with aunts and uncles that lived in the country. Oh, okay. So then we're fine. And then there are other things happening. And then she also doesn't get the context of the fact that it's kind of the story of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Aslan being Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Edward being the one who sells him out. What was that guy? Judas.
Yeah.
Being the Judas. And they shave Aslan and stone him. And there's a
Right.
whole, basically a crucifixion scene.
Wait, is this Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, or is this Narnia?
Narnia, whichever
Chronicles
one.
of Narnia. It's
Chronicles of Narnia. There we
Yeah.
go.
All right.
So I am like concerned about it in multiple ways. Like
Right.
I'm kind of processing
Yeah.
a couple of things. I think my friend at the time was like, "I didn't realize that that's what that was about." And I was like, "Shit, I read the books in 5th grade,
Yeah.
and nobody explained this to us. And now that I'm an adult and can understand context, I'm like, oh, this is like a crucifixion scene.
Yeah.
And he's giving himself to save everybody else.
Yeah.
And so they get to the scene, and Aslan lays down on the slab, and then he dies. And a few days later, he's disappeared.
Yeah.
And my niece's cat had died recently.
Oh, God. She thought he was going to reappear.
Yes.
Oh, no.
And now I have to explain.
Not all
Oh.
cats come back.
I'm sorry. Caesar's not coming back.
Oh,
She's like,
no.
it was so bad. And I'm like, now where are the bad adults for bringing you here at this point. So
I will say I read the entire series of the Chronicles of Narnia. Like, I got into a big like book reading thing, and like after I did the Harry Potter series, I did like Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, and I did Chronicles of Narnia, and I did
Percy Jackson. Isn't one of those kids dead too?
Probably.
I think one of those kids committed suicide too.
Yeah. But so when I did the Chronicles of Narnia, it's real funny because the books kind of line up. Some of them do. And then there's like a couple, like the Silver Chair or whatever, that are just a little bit out there that have a character that's connected, but
There's
not...
like the Caspian Prince of
Yeah. So like there's the Chronicles of Narnia, there's the movies, did 3 of them. The Dawn Treader and the Prince Caspian one. But those are like the middle books.
Yeah.
And there's actually a prequel book.
Yeah.
That's before that, and then there's a couple more after it. And I feel like when you read the entire series, you get a little bit more extensive knowledge, and you definitely realize at some point that you're reading like a religious series where it is very much so pronounced that this is a godlike creature, and like the whole thing is
because C.S. Lewis was a devout Catholic, and then he left his faith, and his wife died, who he loved very much, and that he returned to his faith, and that's when he wrote the series.
Yeah, okay.
So,
well, and it's funny because he actually wrote, like, the way that you read the books is different from the way that he wrote them, because he wrote like a few of them in sequence, and then he went back and he wrote one that was like a prequel to some of the other ones that
there's like the White Witch. And,
yeah. So it's, some of them get a little weird. I will say it's kind of worth reading the series because they are interesting books. I enjoyed the movies. The movies I thought were very well done for what the books were.
But it comes out, I mean, the same thing is with Harry Potter. You can't get all the details in.
No, you can't.
Because, what is it, Harry, the 6th movie that I was, the 5th or 6th movie that I was like, when she has the time
turner, that's movie 3. And honestly, movie 3 I loved, but I saw the movie first before I read the book.
They didn't explain shit in the movie.
They did not.
And in the book, you get a context of how she's been using it and how she's doing it. And in the movie, it just shows up. She wraps it around his neck with her, and off they go.
Off you go. And then they never use it again. And it's like, why didn't you ever use that again? And it's like, oh, because in book 5, when they went to the Ministry of whatever, they totally destroyed all the time turners when they were in there blowing up shit. Mm-hmm. And they don't explain that in the movies. And it's like, okay, so you get that from the books. I will say the Harry Potter series, when I read that, I watched movies 1 through 3 first.
Okay.
And then I started reading the book series. And so I had read book 4 before the movie came out. And then I went and saw the 4th movie, and I was like, this movie sucks. Yeah. And I was like, I shouldn't have read the book before I saw the movie, because clearly the movies that I saw before I read the books, I was like, oh, these are great movies.
Well, because books 1 through 3 are very small.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to do a detailed movie about it.
Right.
But then
4 was like one of the biggest.
Yeah. And 4 through 7 get like very heavy. They're huge, and they get very heavy. And they could have actually done 2 or 3 movies for each book.
Oh, yeah.
But then when you start killing off fucking kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, then, people are, I mean, like, my niece was out when there were spiders. I was almost out when there were spiders. I was like, I don't get down with this shit. I don't care.
The spider thing is pretty awful.
Oh. I am one of those people who, if a spider shows up on my screen.
Yeah.
Or if you post something on Facebook, you motherfuckers who post, like, look at what I found in my yard.
Right.
Just make that, you can say exclude so-and-so from being able to see this post. Put me in that group.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. But I'm somebody who gets skeeved out, like even seeing a photo of a spider or on TV, and I realize I probably need to like go and get one of those what do they call it, like the immersion therapy?
No
where like after one day you can pet a spider.
They'll put spiders all over you. Who wants to have spiders all over you? Like, I don't have a huge aversion to spiders, but like I also don't want to do inversion therapy on spiders.
Right. So I just listened to This American Life where this person went and did aversion therapy, and they like by the end he was like, then I was holding a tarantula and petting it, and I'm like, no, not okay. I don't want to be that person.
I was cleaning up my basement the other day, and like it was going pretty well, and then I opened up this one box that had like, and there was in the corner this little brown spider, and you get the typical spiders in the basement, whatever, because like I have a stone basement, so it's not like the nicest basement ever. It's concrete, it's a cellar, and it's a cellar.
Yeah.
So I would expect spiders, but honestly, most of the time we were moving stuff and doing everything, we never saw a spider. But I opened up this box, and in the corner there was this little spider, and I mean, he was probably the size of like maybe a little bigger than a quarter.
Yeah. No.
But it was brown, it was furry, and I could definitely see legs. And I was like, fuck you. Nope. I put the lid back on, and I was like, I'm going to have to get somebody else to help with that because I'm not touching it.
Yeah, I hate when my husband is like, I got rid of the spider. I very much saw that you didn't squish it, which means it fell down somewhere. And now it's just loose in our house with a vendetta.
Yeah, and now it's just running around somewhere.
No, I don't want it to crawl into bed with us.
No.
I grew up in the country, and the spider that you're describing sounds like one of those wolf spiders that were just, cannot. So we had this friend. I don't even like, I have a hard time killing spiders because I don't want to get that close to it. So like I might throw something from across the room and just hope to God I hit it. Otherwise, spider with a vendetta.
Right.
But she would get up and get ready for work much earlier than her husband. And she is blind as a fucking bat. Like I have like a -3, like a -275, -3 is what my prescription is.
Yeah.
Without worrying about my bifocals. Real quick. She's in the shower. She's blind as shit. She has like a -8 prescription.
Oh my God.
So she is blind. And she has very long hair. And so she's like, hair is always getting all over the place, and her husband hates it. And she was like, so I see a clump of hair, and I bend down, and I pick it up, and I hold it up, and it's a spider.
Oh God, no.
She's like, so I threw it. And she goes, I didn't want to wake him up and panic him because what I wanted to do would have meant that a murderer was in the house.
Oh,
So she stood in the shower, silently screaming into her hands.
Oh no.
While trying to kill the spider down the drain. Which is another thing that my husband tells me when I hit it with my shower head. He's like, they live outside in the rain. He's like, it's very hard to drown a spider. And I'm like, I don't give a shit.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever pointed that out to me before. I just assume that works. As soon as I drown them, they're done.
You gotta squish them or flush them down the toilet. That's all there is to it. Yeah. They're resilient. I mean, they're not quite cockroaches, but they are resilient. I mean, also, you have to squish them because of the exoskeleton thing. You know?
Ugh.
Oh my goodness. So, a couple of weeks ago, we posted online that we had entered our podcast to the Indie PopCon Podcast Awards. So you self-nominate, you provide your best 5 minutes, and then a link to that actual whole episode. We know that they did download it because I track the geolocation of all of our downloads. Hello to you outside of the United States. I'm not sure how that happened.
Hey, we love you.
I'm assuming that at least one of them downloading us is Madhav. So we entered. My husband and I were already going to Indie PopCon, so we thought, great. What we didn't expect was that the awards were at 4:00 in the afternoon. We are 2.5 hours away from Indy. We had to pick up one dog before 6 because they were boarding.
Oh.
You had one of our dogs.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could have left her a whole nother night if you needed to.
Yeah.
But
Picking up that other one, because it's like $50 to leave her there another day. So we kind of, we made the decision that we were going to have to leave early. And then it took forever to get somebody to respond to us. Like, can we have a list of
who won
It would be really nice because we weren't there, and they had already posted the International Film Awards. And I'm trying to get back to this post. Nope, those are just people that are answering me. So we had the entry. We entered as mature 18+. And we are proud to say that Drunk Bitches Be Like was the 2021 Indie PopCon Award for mature 18+. Yay!
So we won an award.
Yay! We get to say we're an award-winning podcast now.
We are officially an award-winning podcast, and you will hear us refer to us as nothing but an award-winning podcast from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to assume out of hundreds of entries into the mature 18+. I think we could have won comedy too, to be honest with you. What we did
They
enter...
did not have a comedy thing, though, right?
At the time that I did it, they did not, and then they added it.
Oh. Well,
So I'm assuming if I would have messaged them and bitched about it.
We're mature 18+, because we swear.
Yeah, we do.
So.
Cheers to us. Cheers to all of you for supporting us. And yay. So thank you guys very much. It was very exciting. I wish we could have been there to accept. Our friends over at Voluntary Podcasts, Voluntary Input, had also entered. We are very disappointed they did not win in their award category because, in all honesty, they're far better than whatever entered in their category. And they've got fantastic sound. So I'm not sure, mix and sound, what it was going to do. But if you want to listen to the episode that we did, it was episode 8. It was literally, luckily, the first 5 minutes after the introduction.
Yeah.
It's what we refer to as our Punky Brewster part. And just to intrigue you some more, just be prepared that Punky Brewster and vagina are used in the exact same
Sentence
5
and
minutes.
Context, yeah.
Constantly.
Context, yeah.
Probably not in the way you would think.
We're not talking about Punky Brewster's vagina.
No, we're not talking about vaginas named Punky Brewster, even though that's what one of us thought was happening.
It's a good show.
Yeah, episode 8 was very enjoyable. Actually, episode 8 was our double.
It
we
was.
split 7 and 8 up.
It was our super drunk episode.
Yeah. You should not, although I think that we should do that more often.
We probably should.
We've actually talked about like just recording an extra 15 minutes when we are super shit faced and maybe putting that on Patreon. So,
but first we need to get more downloads. So download more people and spread the word.
Yeah, like we had a shit ton of downloads on episode 1, and I feel like people don't love us anymore.
Yeah.
They can't get past it. I mean, we're like Supernatural. You have to get a couple of episodes in before you're committed.
That's true. I have watched Supernatural the first episode, and I was like, I feel like this isn't a thing. But then I was like, I feel like it should be a thing, and I need to watch more.
Yeah, you need to get 3 seasons under your belt before it becomes a good thing. But
so tell us more about Indie PopCon. What else happened?
So Indie PopCon, I think they're in their 8th year, 7th or 8th year. Last year they missed, so maybe it was the 6th year. Who knows? It's fun. It's a small regional convention. They had a lot of voice actors there, and I don't know shit about shit when it comes to voice actors.
I did see that Holly Maureen Combs was there, and she was on
there,
Charmed, and I loved her.
And Emily Swan was there. She's in The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And if you watch Supernatural, she was Mara. She's God's sister.
I mean, that'd be the role, right?
Yeah. She's been in a few things. She's sincerely a great actress. Holly Marie Combs. I love the original Charmed. I don't hate them for doing the other Charmed, but it's not the original.
Everybody's always going to do a remake, but Holly Marie Combs was the original, Charmed.
She didn't get the sex symbol status that she deserved either.
She really didn't.
No. I mean, it all went to Alyssa's boobs.
Yeah.
And then Brenda got mad.
Yeah, and then Rose McGowan came, but Holly Marie Combs, I feel
like Rose McGowan,
person.
but man, she got to back up.
Yeah, no, Holly Marie, she was the one that held it all together.
Yes.
I feel like the whole
her
run
and
of
Leo
the series.
and their kids.
Oh, Leo was so good. Her and Leo. Yeah, she was the ultimate mom. I wanted her to be my mom.
She was amazing.
I mean, she was awesome.
I mean, no offense to your mom.
Well, no, I love my mom, but also, who wouldn't want a witch for a mom that could just make shit fly around the room?
And she bakes and all that other shit. She was great. But
yeah, she was a chef too.
Yeah,
a chef and a witch.
Lots of voice actors. From I think the guy who does Ren and Stimpy was there. Billy West. He did Animaniacs.
Nice.
Which Animaniacs is back now, but we're Animaniacs. We're crazy to the max. We're totally insane.
I feel like that show, I don't want to watch it as an adult because I feel like when I was a young child and I watched it when it was out originally, it made sense in my brain. And as an adult, I don't want to watch it because if it still makes sense in my brain, then I feel like there's something wrong with me.
Apparently, there's a lot of shit that you miss as a child that they put in there for adults, so yay for them. So I might want to watch it again, but I really enjoy. I was almost an adult when it came out.
Yeah.
So lots of voice actors. It was really interesting. We hit the vendor floor a couple of days in a row. We got some really cool things. We got your boyfriend a die box.
I know. I saw that. It was beautiful.
So we enjoyed it. I picked that out. I probably it wasn't you that gave me the information, although I think I was like, Brandi said this. I think it also came from the wife of the guy who he plays with online. That's our mutual friend. Because my impression is that a lot of times the game gets sidetracked by personal conversations.
It does, yes.
And your boyfriend is like, we only came here to play Dungeons and Dragons and we only do this one fucking night a week. Can we get through it?
Yes, that's very much so his perspective on all things.
So the die box says, can we just play the game?
It's very fitting for his personality. Yeah.
Found some Harry Potter mugs for you.
Oh, no, you got me some fabulous mugs. So, one, you got me a TARDIS mug.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I don't remember
No,
shit.
you're fine. The second mug you got me says love, but inside of each letter, it's got a different, like, sci-fi thing. One has the USS Enterprise, one has the TARDIS, one has the...
I didn't pay attention to what I did, so...
Yeah,
yay.
no, it's got two other sci-fi geeky things, and for the life of me right now, I can't remember what they are, but they're fabulous, and I loved them.
Oh, we had a great time. It's got a growler that's like, it's a potions growler. We think he got fortitude.
Yeah.
And then what did I get? I got Funko figures.
Nice.
I got Left Eye by Teal. TLC's Left Eye for like $5. I was super thrilled about that. There were a lot of people who had, I'm like, you go up and you're like, do you have anything from Doctor Who? And they're like, yes, here's a Doctor Who figure for $500. No,
I don't want $500 figures.
But they're right. I mean, they went very fast. They were Hot Topic specials.
Yeah.
And I only have a handful of them. But lots of great cosplays, an immense amount of anime cosplays to where we were having to look stuff up.
Oh, okay.
Because they just aren't. A lot of My Hero, I can't even think of the name, Attack on Titan, things like that. I mean, it was not, I told my husband, because he's like, I don't know shit about anime. And I'm like, you kind of have to find a starting point.
Yeah.
And then jump in. I was like, I'll get you into some basic bitch anime.
Yeah.
He goes, what the hell is that? I'm like, anything that was on Adult Swim in 2004 and 2005 is some basic bitch anime.
So here's the thing. I have a weird thing with animations. I don't like anime only because I don't like watching the kind of animation it is on TV. Mm-hmm. Like, I have a very weird... Like, I don't know. It's because they just came out with on Disney Plus. They're doing a new show called What If, and it's basically every episode is going to be a what if this had happened instead.
Yeah.
So it's all their same characters, but in different roles and things like that. And we watched the preview of it. And me and my partner were sitting there and we were discussing it. And I was like, I'm really happy with the animation choice they made.
Right.
Because I enjoy the animation that they chose. And so I'm more likely to watch it. Whereas like anime, I don't like the weird... I'm not great at comic books. Like I can't read a comic book.
Oh, like the choices that they make off of the manga.
Yeah, like I can't, like for comic books for me, like I'll look at a page and I have a very hard time figuring out which panel goes first. And like, normally it's left to right, top to bottom, whatever. But in comic books, sometimes it's not left to right, top to bottom because there's
they have
some
the
things
elongated panel.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I have a really hard time with that. And I feel like in anime on TV, even though it's not reading it and everything else, I'm just not a huge fan of that animation style.
So I would say for that, there are a couple of ones that you can jump into that are more Americanized. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, Adult Swim wouldn't have picked them. Anime tends to be kind of dark too.
Yeah.
But Inuyasha, which is about a boy demon who's part fox or something like that, and this Japanese schoolgirl who can control him, and they go after these gemstone shards and stuff like this. So it's really good, and it's serialized. The other one is Full Metal Alchemist.
Either one. I've heard of that.
Full Metal Alchemist, and then there's Full Metal Alchemist, The Brotherhood. Either one of them, I think is fine. And then I moved into like Bleach and Black Butler and some other ones, which I still consider like they're just basic. Like some of these kids get into sincerely. I won't watch anything that's subbed. I will only watch things that have been dubbed, which is terribly bougie of me because the kids who are really into it like will read the subtitled ones, and I can't pay attention to what's going on screen. and read subtitles.
Now that I can do, because I have subtitles permanently turned on my TV. Like, I can't watch TV without subtitles.
Really?
Yeah, even if it's in English, like if I'm watching TV and there's not subtitles, at some point I'll be like, can we turn on the captioning? I can't, for some reason, once I started watching TV with captions on, and I don't even know why I did it, and it might have something to do with my hearing or whatever else, but like once I started doing that, I can't concentrate on what's happening unless I have subtitles, because half of the time I don't hear them.
Yeah, so I get that. You know what's funny is turn on subtitles for a show that, like, I used to watch this show that was basically Jersey Shore, but it was in England.
Oh, okay.
And they have the area of England that they're in. It's everything is Essex or something like that. So Essex has this very specific dialect. Mm-hmm. And to watch the captions try and caption in it. Because that's how every sentence ends. Yeah. I mean, they're like, but he was going to go there but it was going to happen anyway, isn't it? Or, you know, I'm using it incorrectly, but in it is how most sentences end when they're talking.
Right.
And it just cracks me up trying to read it. But we usually have captions turned on if something is incredibly British.
Right.
Sometimes it's hard to understand. And then when do I turn them on? We only turn them on for other shows if I couldn't catch what they were saying, or if neither of us could catch what they were saying.
Yeah.
Then we'll turn it on. But for the most part, I can't have it on all the time.
Yeah.
Although I will say also when I'm trying to watch a show and I should be paying attention to a phone call. Sometimes I'm on phone calls that I don't really have to participate in. I just have to be in the participant list. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with me.
Yeah,
so I'll just turn on captions and turn the volume down in case I forget to turn my mute on, which is what I did and was blowing my nose into a meeting this week.
Well, and I feel like sometimes like I'm at the bar and like captions are on and the volume's off because you're at a bar and there's TVs on with episodes and things like that.
And there's nothing that annoys your boyfriend more than somebody blaring their video.
Oh, yeah. No, he hates that, which is fine. But I will sit there and literally watch TV the entire time I'm sitting at the bar because I will just read the subtitles the entire thing through. And like somebody will look up and be like, wait, what happened? And I'm like, oh, well, this happened and this happened and this happened. Because I've been literally reading all the subtitles for the past 45 minutes. This is what I've been doing. I'm at the bar drinking my drink and watching CSI and just reading all the subtitles.
Oh, my goodness. I guess the one thing I didn't do is I wanted to thank the folks at PopCon. They have an independent voting panel, so I definitely want to thank them.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry I didn't put that in when we were talking about the award.
Yeah.
We're going to be obnoxious about it. So far, your boyfriend and your friend have announced us as we walk into bars as award-winning podcasters.
Yeah, he asked me earlier what my plans were this evening, and I was like, well, I'm going to go to work, and then I'm going to go do this, and then I'm going to go record a new episode of my award-winning podcast.
So fucking pretentious at this point. We're
gonna
get
t-shirts
he was
made
like,
up. As you should announce it like that. And I was like, all right, well, that's how I'm going to announce it from now on. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I can't hang out tonight. I have to go record another episode of my award-winning podcast.
So downloads have kind of picked up. I actually dropped a shameless promotion. I actually dropped into the Indie PopCon group where I very graciously suggested that everybody who submitted drop their tagline and link to the, a URL so that we could all get to it so that I could drop mine without being an asshole.
Fantastic.
So we have talked about it before, probably in episode 10 or episode 9. Mm-hmm. As I've mentioned before, you listen to the episodes as you edit them. I listen to them after they're published because I don't remember what we've talked about.
I have to take notes as I'm editing and things because I'm the one that makes all the hashtags. So if you have a problem with the hashtags, go fuck yourself. Because I literally, as I'm like listening to the podcast and trying to edit, I'm like, okay, we talked about this. We talked about this. We talked about this. And I'm making a list. And like I get to the end and I only get 20 hashtags. So sometimes 20 is great. Sometimes I don't have enough. Sometimes I have more than enough. And I'm like, well, what do I leave out?
Start stealing them from my permanent hashtag that I created on my clipboard. I'm most proud of the emojis at the end of it because there's a brunette girl and there's a blonde girl and there were microphones and I was very excited about that. I was going someplace with that. Now I'm not.
Nope.
Not going there.
Oh, should we tell people where they can find us if they'd like to listen to an award-winning podcast all the time?
Sure. If you've got it written down, we can tell them.
I do, on a page somewhere in this notebook that is sitting next to me because I did that at some point.
I can tell you that our Instagram is DBBL_podcast, DBBL_podcast. I believe that is also our Twitter handle. On Facebook, we are DBBL Podcast, all one word. And and
YouTube, it's DBBL Podcast.
All one word.
And then our website is dbblpodcast.com. And our email, in case you want to drop us a line, which you should, nobody ever does, but you should, dbblpodcast@gmail.com.
I do sometimes get personal messages, so let's talk about corrections from episode 9 and or episode 10. I don't remember which one. Yes, it's Aaliyah, not Sierra. Because
Yep.
I pick yourself up and try again.
That was Aaliyah,
not
Sierra.
My family is in Bristol, Tennessee, not Texas.
Oh, that seems, yeah.
Yeah, I said Texas.
Okay.
And we know that Black Wall Street was not on an exchange market that competed with New York. It was
Yeah, we know that. But also, we've been drinking a lot when we talk, so sometimes things get a little blurry. Sorry, guys.
And we did want to mention that one of the things that I have seen online repeatedly this week, and it drives me crazy, the Tulsa Race Massacre was kicked off by something that still happens today, which is white women's tears.
I just saw another thing on TikTok today about that.
My gosh. Was it the girl in Victoria's Secret?
No, it was a woman at Walmart that thought her son's cell phone got taken.
And it was in the car, and the bitch didn't even apologize.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Tulsa Massacre was kicked off because an elevator operator said that a young black man assaulted her, but apparently it was like he brushed up against her, and then she said he assaulted her, and then he got arrested, and they drug him down to the jail, and a bunch of people showed up to want to lynch him, and men from the Greenwood district, which is where it would predominantly black, although it did have other people of color, predominantly black, a very well, they were doing well. They were doing just fucking fine.
Yeah.
And then they showed up to make sure the kid didn't get lynched. Shit popped off. And then next thing you know, like white people are firebombing the entire section from airplanes. I'm like, it's crazy. But so that was one of the things that we wanted to mention as a correction. Just know that we try so hard to be right.
We do.
But we also drink a lot.
we try really hard to get facts straight. But also, it's incredible the amount of alcohol that we have to consume to actually get to the point where we're drunk enough to record this podcast.
This is true.
Because
if you see the list of things that Brandi had for us to talk about, and we just use them as kickoff points, and never get to half
and
of
then
it.
we didn't talk about most of it, which is fine because it's fine. But also, like the fact that like you have to have at least 3 or 4 drinks before we even get here, and then like we drink more. And when I say you, I mean me.
Yeah.
And then
oh no, I had a giant. I had 3 shots. I had 3 ounces of vodka in a 32-ounce cup with the rest of it was Bloody Mary mix, and I had heartburn so bad when I got here. It was a bad idea.
I had 3 gin and sodas, and then I got here and had 2 more glasses of wine before we started recording, had another glass of wine, and now I'm on my, 3rd, 4th glass of wine.
So we do some work. We work really hard. But we have to pick out beers based on the percentage because, man, if you get a 4% beer, you're just fucking struggling to get drunk.
Yep.
So we have to go 6% and above.
You got to hit the high road, man.
Yeah. Which was when we were in Indianapolis, we were doing tasters at like every place we went.
Nice.
And some of them we didn't read. And it was 2:00 in the afternoon, and we had to go back to the con. And I'm hitting 10% and 9% beers, and it's only 4 ounces, but it adds up. It was a struggle. And it was like our vacation mini honeymoon.
Yeah.
And I slept a lot. When we weren't on the floor, I was like, "Can we just go back and take a nap?"
I mean, if you're having 10% and 11% tasters in a flight, then yeah, you're gonna go nap.
It was absolutely that. But yeah, the thing that you saw, I saw that thing on Walmart. So a woman was at Walmart and accused a black teen of stealing her son's phone.
Yeah.
Because the son realized that he was missing it, and the young black teen had a phone that was the same model. And then her kid went out to the car,
Found the phone.
and then the bitch still was,
She
told them
him-
to fuck off.
Oh,
and-
no. She walked in and said, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
When the guy was upset that he had been accused of stealing a cell phone. And not only had he been accused of stealing a cell phone, but like this went on for a while because the mom was literally standing there in a parking lot on the phone with police, like talking to them about how this guy had stolen her son's cell phone. There was a Walmart manager out there. Like, it was the whole shebang. They're all standing there, and this kid who didn't steal anybody's cell phone is just sitting there getting accused of stealing a cell phone for like 20 minutes. The kid finally goes out to the car, finds his cell phone, comes back, and the mom's like, well, you can go fuck off, and then goes into the store.
Yeah. So here's another thing. I will get to the management, the people who work in these places, because you need to start picking your battles.
Mm-hmm.
You got to stand on one side or the other. And if you're on the wrong side, you're on the wrong side, and we're all going to call you out on it.
Right.
There was a woman who TikTok took her videos down for bullying
Nice.
this woman. So this woman was in Victoria's Secret, as she explains in her videos. She went in to get the free birthday panty.
Yeah.
She was at a sale table, and this white chick pushed her out of the way and just physically shoved her out of the way, got in front of her, and then the woman who had been assaulted starts videoing because she's like, no, this isn't going to happen. And the white chick realized that she was videoing and then proceeded to have a fake meltdown and was like, stop filming me, my breakdown, da, da, da. Fake passes out. I love when they fake pass out and they stop themselves with their hands from falling on the ground too hard. Fake passes out, continues to have this shit fit, charges the woman and hits her arm that's filming.
Oh my God.
So assaults her again. The management of Victoria's Secret did nothing. She asked for security repeatedly. When mall security got there, they basically asked her to leave. And to stop videoing. And she was like, I am absolutely not stop videoing. The cops showed up, refused to look at the video evidence, and didn't want to make a report. And they were basically like, can't you just leave? And let her go on about her day. And I'm like, no, you're on the wrong side.
Yeah.
You're on the wrong side. You have to pick one. When it comes to the management at that Walmart, don't let her go in.
Yeah.
Just say, ma'am, we're going to need you to leave the property.
Right.
Pick your battle. The worst that can happen is that she comes back in 2 weeks, because I can tell you from working in retail at both Walmart and the regional Meijer, they never fucking mean it when they're like, I'm never coming back here.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, see you next week.
Everybody
It's
comes
literally what we used to say at customer service. Somebody would rip us a new ass. I'm never coming back here. My parting words to them were, see you next week.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be back. You're Walmart people. I'm a Walmart people. I'm a Walmart people. I
mean,
can
I'm
admit
a
it.
Walmart person too, but
We just talked about me trying to get naked in a Walmart because of a cicada.
They piss you off, and then you come back the next week because cheap prices.
Where else are you going to get it?
Yeah.
So, you gotta choose. You can't support the people who are doing this.
Yeah.
It went to the hotel management of the young man that was being accused of stealing that woman's cell phone in New York. The management was like, can you just give us your cell phone and prove that it's yours? No, fuck her.
Yeah.
She came in off the street and assaulted a 14-year-old boy. And I'm tired of you all referring to adolescent black men or young black boys and young black girls as adults. They're not fucking adults. If you're a 14-year-old white kid is a kid, your 14-year-old black child is a child. Stop fucking making the differentiation.
And I'm sorry, it's not up to me to prove that this is my cell phone. It's up to you to prove that that's I'm sorry. What? Nobody in the history. Okay.
I don't know how to turn my alarm off.
You're fine. I had a cell phone stolen once, legitimately stolen out of my coat that was hanging in a coat rack at the front of a fucking hall, whatever. It was in the coat room. Somebody came in, went through everybody's coats, stole some shit. They stole my phone, which it was only like 2 days old, which lesson learned. But they stole it. I had a tracker on it, and I learned a very good lesson about the legal system because I could track my phone. I knew exactly where my phone was. It was in a house like 2 blocks away from the hall where it was stolen. And I could tell the police it's right there. And they were like, okay, great. They went and knocked on the door and they wouldn't let them in. And they came back and they were like, well, we can't do anything. And I was like, I'm sorry. My $600 cell phone that is 2 days old is in that house and you can't do anything about it. And they were like, no, because they won't let us in. And I was like, what do you mean they won't let you in? And they're like, well, they have to let us into their house because we don't have a warrant. And I was like, well, get a fucking warrant. I know the phone's there. And they were like, well, we can't do that because it's less than $1,000. And I'm like, I'm sorry. So there's $1,000 limit on a warrant to get into a house. So like you have to have.
Yeah, grand larceny is over $500,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I don't know. Well, that's the thing. I was told I needed at least $1,000 worth of material being stolen to be able to get a warrant to go into a house. So they couldn't go into the house. So they're like, well, and they won't invite us into the house. So we can't barge into the house because we don't have a warrant. We can't get a warrant without $1,000. So we're screwed. And I'm like, so you're telling me that my $600 cell phone is sitting in this house? I know it's in that house because I have a tracker on the goddamn thing. Can't get to it.
Yep.
Can't do anything about it. It's fucking gone.
Yeah.
I have no insurance on it. I have nothing. It's just $600 loss. Wipe your hands clean and bop, there we go.
Basically. I mean, it's wrong. It's wrong, but
it's terribly
you didn't
wrong.
assault somebody in your office.
Right. I didn't assault anybody. And that's my problem is because when I see these things that are happening like in places where people get accused of like, I'm sorry, do you know that person stole it? No, you don't. Like, I wouldn't go up to that house and the first person that answered the door be like, I'm sorry, you stole my cell phone. No, my phone is somewhere in this house that has 3 different apartments. So somebody in that house stole my phone. But like, I'm not going to go and accuse one singular person and be like, hey, somebody needs to give me back my fucking phone. Like, no, but there's these people that are out in public that are just like, oh, well, you did this and you have no proof, no whatever, and you get backup from management and whatever. Like, I don't understand how that works. I had the police involved. I had a tracker on my phone. I couldn't get anything done. But you are at a fucking Walmart, have no evidence whatsoever, and you've got like 5 people behind you going, I'm sorry, sir, you need to prove this is your phone. I don't understand that.
No, I don't either. And it does come to, and I hate when people online are like, well, how do you know it was because of race? No, we 100 fucking %. Why would you turn around, find the nearest black person and be like, it's you? Do you know how many people have an iPhone? I don't know what the phone was, but let's say it was an iPhone 11 or an iPhone 12. Everybody has a fucking iPhone.
Yeah.
Us Android people are out here on our own struggling.
Oh, and trust me, we're struggling.
But
we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, we will talk about that because you had a fiasco and I'm sorry we didn't get to it. But yes, it's racially motivated. And even if it's unconscious bias, man, when you stick to your guns, even when you're wrong.
Yeah. I'm sorry. When your kid comes back with his fucking phone that was in your car, you turn around to that person you accused of stealing things, which honestly, first of all, you shouldn't have accused somebody of stealing anything.
But you apologize profusely and buy them whatever they need at Walmart. You look at them
and you go, oh my God, I am a horrible human being. I am so sorry I accused you of stealing this. I don't know what was going through my brain. I was just so panicked because, you know, it's a really expensive phone and I have no excuse. I'm so sorry. Like, apologize to that person and then you buy them all of the things.
Like, can I get you
that
your
are in the
groceries?
carts of whatever they need to buy. Like, I will buy you a week's worth of groceries because I'm a horrible human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And frankly, if I were a manager at Walmart, I would be offering that person, offering the accused a gift card. Like,
oh yeah,
we're so sorry you had a bad experience here. So the managers need to just step up the step. I get when like your cashier doesn't want to get confrontational.
Right.
But
They're
as
getting paid
management,
minimum wage, whatever.
as management, you got to do better. You can't. And I feel like they're just pandering to the white dollar.
Yeah.
Because, you know, well, we don't want to upset them. Why not? Why not?
You can't go out and stand in the parking lot next to the person who's accusing somebody of doing something without any evidence whatsoever and be like, looking like you're on their side.
Yeah.
Like, that's not okay.
Number one, any prosecutor will tell you it's up to them to prove a case. It is not up to the defendant.
Yeah. You got to prove this is your cell phone?
Yeah.
I don't have to prove it's mine because I already own it.
Right.
It's in my possession. So fuck you.
So, That was a joyous occasion, but no, seriously. The examples that we've seen this week, going back so many years, like I'm so tired. Like you, if this is reaching your ears and you know a Karen, hate to use that term, but if you know a Karen who's going to go out and do this shit, like you have to call them out. You have to call them on their bullshit. You have to kick them out of whatever store they're in. You have to stop supporting their behavior because they're doing it because they're getting away with it. And I'm fine with these shitheads who are like, but I got fired. I'm going to touch on one more thing that happened at Indie PopCon.
No,
these people who are like, I got fired, and cancel culture. No.
And I know what you're talking about, and I can't even.
It's responsibility. You have to take responsibility. And if you do something stupid, your company does not want you representing them because now your name is out there.
Yeah.
So while we were at Indie PopCon, I didn't see it personally, but I did see pictures of it. Apparently in Call of Duty Zombies, there is a character that is Dr. Edward Richtenstein or something like that. Rectifin. I don't know. He is a Nazi. A Nazi with an SS band and the whole gray-blue uniform, the fucking hat with all the shit on it. And this kid shows up in full regalia. Here's the thing. Even if it's a character in a game or in an anime or in a movie, you can't show up dressed as a Nazi.
Did nobody learn anything from Prince Harry?
Right. You just can't cosplay a Nazi.
No.
In other countries, you would be arrested. That is illegal. There are reasons why Germany does not allow any of it to be displayed.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to repeat it. And for some reason, America, we're just bound and determined to become a fucking right-wing Nazi country. I don't know what we're doing, but there's crazy things. So the kid actually responded. The people at PopCon did manage to round him up eventually. He's a quick little motherfucker. They did manage to round him up eventually and escort him out. He was no longer welcome. You can't have your badge. Get the fuck out.
Right.
The kid responded to a post that they made about like, hey, an incident happened, blah, blah, blah. So he put his name out there. So a bunch of us just Googled him on not Googled him. We just went on Facebook and searched for him. And there he was with a public post with pictures he took in the convention center or had somebody take in the convention center. And he was bragging about how people were telling him how brave he was to cosplay that. And I realized that there is in nerddom, geekdom, there is a subculture that would support that.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers out on 4chan raising hell.
So here's my question for you, because I know, like, honestly, I don't think there's ever a reason anybody should cosplay a Nazi uniform or whatever else. Do you think there is a point at which there are some people who are so naive that, like, they have a character that they love and cosplay to them is, like, completely separated from reality?
So here's the deal. When I looked at this young man's profile and I was reading the comments that people had posted, his friends and so on, he's done this before.
Oh, okay.
They said, we thought we'd never see that cosplay again. And he was like, I know it's been a couple of years since I busted it out, but now so I feel like he's intentionally trying to be inflammatory.
Okay.
Here's the other thing. He lists his employer as the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
And I am scroll happy. So I'm scrolling because I'm like, is this a stolen valor thing? So I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. Turns out I see this little shithead in basic training and his A school, AIT. He went to school at Fort Jackson. I'm pretty sure he's guard, not active duty, because I don't think shit's happening in Indianapolis. Yeah. There might be a base there. I don't know. I don't know what's popping off in Indianapolis. But he was clearly a trainee in Fort Jackson. He's got video. There's, things. So I don't think it's being a Karen when you're calling this out, because I was a member of the military. I don't think there's any excuse for a member of the military to put on an SS uniform with a swastika on a red band on your arm.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm not a member of the military. I was raised by somebody who was a member of the military, and the person that raised me is still he's not in the military, but he is a contractor with the military. Like, he's worked on base for as long as I can humanly remember. And there is not a single fabric of my being that could ever imagine anyone, even in my family, even considering putting on a uniform of any regime of any other country, because it would be disrespectful to the military that we are a part of.
Right.
And especially the Nazi regime, because that is a horribly disrespectful, I can't even fathom somebody in the military, especially an active military member, putting a uniform on that is not their uniform in their military regime.
Right. So I have a hard time seeing people in dress uniform, or there's an acceptable amount of things that you can do. So you can have a beer in uniform.
Right.
You should never be intoxicated in uniform.
Right.
You can't bring dishonor to the military. So I know that you guys probably know that I am lefty left.
Yeah.
I don't believe that manhole covers should be redefined as person hole covers. I think that's a little far.
Right.
But I'm lefty left.
Yeah.
And I was horrified.
Yeah.
So I messaged Fort Jackson with all of the pictures, because he has since made it private.
Yeah.
But I took screenshots because I'm that kind of petty bitch.
As you should be.
So I messaged all of them to Fort Jackson, and I did get a reply that was, "Thank you very much for bringing this incident to our attention. We will address it." I was fine. Fuck him on his way out.
Yeah.
And don't think I'm not going to be stalking his page going, is he going to mention it? Is he going to mention it? Because if he mentions it, I'm going to tell him I'm the one, or I'm at least one
that turned you in.
Yeah, because somebody else was I contacted the email.
You're not the only one that turned him in.
No, I'm not, because other people were saying hey, I messaged, I sent an email to US Army. US Army at usarmy.com or whatever the fuck it is. So I'm not the only one, but I'd be proud to say that I was one of the ones who did it, because I can't support it. I wore a blue uniform. It looked like a fucking Crayola with that little,
little cap on your head.
It's a flight cap, but it's affectionately referred to as a cunt cap.
Also needs addressing.
Yeah, but look, it was the 90s. It was a different time. So I was proud to be in. I wasn't in for as long as I would have liked to have been in. I have some medical issues that arose that kept me out. We can always go into that in a year from now.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of it. My family served in the military. My family served in World War II. I'm not okay with it, nor should anybody be okay with it.
Well, and the problem for me is...
And I really hope he gets a dishonorable discharge.
When I first saw it, I was my immediate reaction to people is to think that they're super naive and just don't know what the fuck they're doing. And so my first reaction to seeing the pictures of him is he did... does he not know that this is wrong because it's a cosplay character?
And you saw the pictures. He was super proud of himself.
Oh, yeah. He was super proud of himself. And here's the thing. Honestly, for cosplay, getting the uniform, the costume correct and getting every little detail, when you're doing cosplay, there is a thing in your brain where it's you've got to get every little tiny thing correct on every little part of your uniform or whatever else. And so I get that. And so when I first saw the post and I first saw his pictures and stuff, I was like, is he just super proud because he did so well at all the little details? And then I was like, okay, yes, I get that you did so well at all the little details and that's great for you. But also you dressed up as a Nazi and maybe that wasn't the best choice.
Especially since somebody pointed out that there are 2 other skins that he could have chosen that were still this...
Oh, for this character.
For this character in COD. And you could have chosen differently. And somebody even pointed out that, yes, there are many games where there are Nazis, but you kill them. They're what moves the game forward, but they're always the villain and you always kill them.
Yeah.
And that's the whole whole
thing.
Point. That's the thing. I don't advocate killing anybody, but if it's in a video game, kill fucking Nazis.
Right.
I don't advocate you going out and finding neo-Nazis and killing those. That's a bad idea. Just, stand up against shit that is wrong. And that's where I felt like I was. I said on my personal post, I was part of me feels like a tattletale, but the other part of me is fuck you.
Right.
You should not be doing this.
Well, and that's the thing. When I first read the post...
at least don't represent yourself as U.S. Army.
Well, right. Because that's the thing. I feel like I felt bad for him at first. first because like I feel like he doesn't know what he's doing.
You're like, God damn, Mindy.
Well, no, because when I first saw it, I was like, I feel like he thought he had such this amazing like cosplay costume, and he put together this whole thing and was so detailed, and it was so proud of it and everything else. And like, regardless of what it was, like he was just so proud of this cosplay costume.
Right.
And then when I read a little bit more and I was like, he's a member of the U.S. Army, I was like, oh, fuck that. I don't like at that point, I was like, you know, and not that it would be excusable if he wasn't part of the U.S. military, but like all of a sudden that clicked and made it not okay.
Right.
Because I'm like, you can be a naive motherfucker and not know what the fuck's going on in the real world because you are in this fantasy gaming world where all you do is sit in your fucking basement and play video games and whatever else. And maybe you go to a con every once in a while and like you put together this cosplay costume on this character that you've played forever on your game and whatever else. And like, so maybe you have no idea what's going on.
Also, if you are choosing to be the Nazi in your video games.
Yeah, I mean, that's also not
if you're hoping to win as the Nazi, I have a problem with you.
Well, yeah, no, that's not a great look. But I was like, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt of like, maybe he's just a lonely guy that doesn't like get out much and like doesn't do anything else. He lives in his mom's basement. I don't know. But then as soon as it was like, oh no, he's a member of the U.S. military, it was like, fuck you, dude. You should never be in a fucking Nazi uniform. I don't even know why you would put any other uniform on besides that. Like, and then I got really mad about it. And I was
As you should.
No.
As you should. I'm not sure like who looks at it, and I just think that he was being inflammatory for the sake of being inflammatory, because
Which is just,
who else looks at a Nazi character and is like, this is great.
Well, and you and I met a person last night who likes to do that, be the devil's advocate just for being the devil's advocate.
Right.
And it was like we were having a conversation about some serious topics and he kept pushing back, and it was like every
He was doing a very Phoebe thing. If you guys watch Friends, he was doing a very Phoebe thing against Ross, which I think you said, like, as he was walking away, he was like, just for the record, I agree with you guys. But I just wanted to see, like, I think he just wanted to see if we were going to cave under any circumstance. And I was like, under no circumstance am I caving from this.
Yeah.
I admit that the justice system worked the way that it should.
Right.
We're talking about Bill Cosby. He's still a fucking rapist.
Yeah. And we'll pick this up on the next podcast.
Yes.
But it was one of those things where this guy was like talking to us at a bar and he was like, well, I was just playing devil's advocate, by the way. Like, we got done with the conversation like a half an hour later and he's like, well, I don't actually feel that way. I was just playing devil's advocate. I just wanted to see what you guys would say. And I was like, I fucking hate you right now. I
need a minute.
I want to punch my fist through your skull. And I am not normally a hugely violent person.
Hey,
but
he might get to this episode.
Oh, I wanted to punch him so bad, and I'm like, I don't know.
But it's nice to have, in all honesty, it's nice to have somebody like confront convictions, and to see where it is. And there are some things that I will never give in on, mainly because I went through my adolescence and young adulthood, and now that I look back on it, I would love to reach out to a couple of guys that I hooked up with and be like, what's it like to be a rapist? Because in all honesty, I had no capacity to consent when we had this thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, the points that were being argued, I don't even want to go into it because I don't want to paint him into that corner, because he was like, I'm being devil's advocate, and I don't think he'd rape people.
No, I don't think so either. But also, like, it was an argument that really wanted to make you want to punch people. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to punch people.
So, you can punch people who support rapists, and you can punch people who dress as Nazis. Yeah. Had I seen that kid,
oh my God,
I swear to God,
would have wanted to punch him.
I told my husband, I was like, you would have been chasing me through the entire convention center, because it would have been on. I don't care. I wouldn't have punched him. I would have just put him over my knee and spanked the living shit out of him. And he might have liked it.
No, I feel like I would have wanted to punch him. And I feel like maybe I am a violent human being and I just want to punch people.
Actually, my t-shirt today says that I'm pro-choice and I choose violence. So you can look up what that means on your own.
So we both want to punch people.
Yeah, I mean, I support the statement fully, but yeah, I'm not going to punch anybody until like maybe after our next episode.
Yeah.
So
All right.
thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining our award-winning podcast.
Our award-winning podcast.
We are award-winning podcasters now. Don't think I'm not changing my fucking hashtag.
Yeah, nice.
We're gonna be like, hey, Ohio podcasters, guess what we did?
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for joining us. We mentioned earlier how to contact us on socials. Feel free to interact with us. I don't post as much as I should, but
I don't post at all because I'm bad at that. I send her things to post.
I post. I am the voice for all of us, but we do appreciate your support. We know you guys are downloading. We have a creepy app that tells us where you're downloading from. So Ohio's leading the pack.
Ohio is leading the pack, although we've gotten some newcomers in the past few months, which is nice.
That's true. True.
We've gotten some Oregon and some Wisconsin,
and like thank you India and Finland.
Yeah, and Germany. Yeah, Germany's great.
I'm not sure how you guys came across this, but thank you.
I don't care because Germany has fantastic beer.
There you
and
go.
wine. So
do us a favor if you're listening on Google, or if you're listening on Amazon Music, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts.
iTunes.
Yeah. Make sure that you give us a like, give us a star, give us whatever they do.
Hit the subscribe button so that way you get alerted every time we have a new episode out.
Absolutely.
And if you could leave us a review, that would be fabulous because that gets us higher up on the rankings and things like that. And then we can,
You definitely want this award-winning podcast to be higher on rankings so that we can be viewed.
Because, we're award-winning, so that means we should be higher up on the rankings.
We have an award.
We do
And
have
we
an
don't
award.
physically have an award, but we have the acknowledgement of having won.
We have the acknowledgement of award, and let's be honest, one of these days I'm going to get drunk and I'm going to order us a somewhat glass figurine or something
There you
that
go.
says
We're going to make us
winner.
ourselves. We're going to get the graphic. They're sending us a graphic that we can use. Also, keep in mind, we are over 400 downloads. We appreciate that you have downloaded us. But some of you are slacking on episodes 2 through 10. This might not even reach you because you might not download this one. But anyway, share us with your friends. Share us with your enemies. We don't really care.
Share us with everybody, and I had something very thought-provoking there I was going to say.
Share us with all the people you know. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been another great night. Thank you, Brandi, for being here.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. Am I boring you?
No, sorry. It's more of a diaphragm issue because I have to pee really bad, so I feel like it's like filling up, and so the breathing room has gotten smaller.
We'll take a break in a minute for peeing.
Merca.
Only in Merca. Do we have more wine?
We do.